fourth grade, we're going to go ahead and take a look at lesson 301 on doing some estimating with a one-digit factor. So what does it mean to estimate? Well, estimating is similar to rounding, and it helps us to be able to think about big numbers in kind of in a generalization. So today we're going to work on rounding numbers up to the 100,000 place value. So let's kind of take a look at a couple of problems right here with the same and different. So what do you notice about these numbers? Hopefully you noticed that 6,000 and 7,000 are both to the thousands place value. I see that 6,200 would round to the number 6,000, and 6,800 would round to the number 7,000. I also see that these are all exact numbers, so these are to an exact place value. So let's take a look at a story problem, okay? So this is chutney is a popular sauce or relish originating from the country of India. The main ingredients are fruits and vegetables, and they're usually slow cooked with herbs and spices. This just sounds like a story about what these sauces are. So let's kind of add to our knowledge. So it says a food magazine surveys 36,219 readers about their favorite type of chutney or sauces. The data is used to help the magazine decide what type of recipes to include in an article about Indian cooking. To the nearest thousand, about how many readers does the magazine survey? Well, is this a real life math problem? Absolutely. If I work for a magazine company and I want to know about what my readers are wanting to maybe make, I need to know if this is something that they might be interested in. So now when I do my second read, I'm going to focus on some information to kind of highlight. So I see that we're serving 36,219 readers. It's to help the magazine decide the recipes to include. I need to round to the nearest thousand and find out how many readers does the magazine survey. All right, so now I'm ready to go ahead and do a silent read on this problem. Then I can set it up. While I do my silent read and set up the problem, I want you to do the same. Grab your whiteboard, or you can use your math journal, and I want you to try this problem in your math journal. Then pause the video and come back and see if you got the same answer that I got. Good luck. Okay, so I've done my third read. Now I'm ready to go ahead and set it up. I see that I have 36,219. I'm going to the nearest thousands place. I know when it comes to rounding, the number to the left of the place value I'm looking at is the one who decides if I round or not. If it's 4 or greater, my place value and numbers in front of it stay the same. If it's 5 or greater, it's going to go up to the next place value. So I see 2 is not greater than the number 5. So I'm going to say that this is 36. The 36 is going to remain the same. Everything behind it, because I'm going to the thousands place value, drops off. So I know that they surveyed 36,000 people. I need to label my answer. I just can't put 36,000. My teacher will count it wrong. Sometimes companies and businesses use marketing strategies to reach their customers, and they often offer their products and services. So market researchers are people who gather data about what customers will buy, when it might be useful to round the numbers. So it would be useful to round multi-digit numbers if I'm looking to find out what kind of product someone's interested in, or what type of sauces to maybe include in a magazine. I know we sent some surveys to families about field trips at the start of the school year. So surveys are used to find out information to then customize things for the people in their community or to the people in their audience. So these are something that are used in real life applied jobs. So let's look at a problem. Okay, so let's go ahead and review rounding a little bit. So remember, to round numbers, we first look at the place value we're rounding to. In our last problem, it was the thousands place value. Remember, we always look to the left of the number being rounded. If that number is 5 or greater, we go up to the next place value. If the number is 4 or lower, our number, my 3 and everything in front of it, will stay the same. So in this case, I would get 47, and then the 9 would change to 3, so I'm going to get 4. Everything behind the 4 changes to a 0 then. So I would get 474,000. So let's try this looking kind of at a number line. So when you round to estimate and to make numbers easier to work with, when you don't necessarily need an exact answer. So right here, let's kind of look at this on a number line. So it says mark and label the number 36,219 on this number line. Something I notice is that this is to the 1,000, this is to the 100, this is to the 1,000. So I bet when I look here, each of these represents maybe a value of 100. I'm going to see if there's 10 lines total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, there are. So this means this is 36,100, 36,200, 36,300. Okay, so my number right here is going to be 36,200. So this is 36,300. Okay, so I know that my answer is going to fall right in here between those two. All right, so this one goes here. This one goes here. Okay, so where would 19 be here? Well, I know that right here, if I were to cut it in half, beep, this is probably about 250. So 19 might be right there. So I'm going to say 36,219 would probably be right there on my number line. So between which two thousands is this number? Well, I know it is between 36,000 and I know it's between 37,000. Let's take a look at maybe doing some estimating, because estimating can help us as well. So when we round a number down, we go to sometimes a benchmark number. So here's a number line. This is showing 3,000 to 4,000. So my number, 3,259, if I was rounding to the thousands place value, a low estimate for that number, so that would be like right here, a low estimate for it would be about 3,000. Over here, if I'm rounding to the next benchmark number and I'm rounding up, well, that's a really big jump to 4,000. So that would be considered a high estimate, okay? It's a lot more than maybe my number had been. So let's kind of try some numbers here. And I want you to kind of try this problem together with me. So this says a video game company spends $117,290 developing a new game. How much does the company spend rounded to the nearest $10,000? And how much does the company spend rounded to the nearest Okay, so there's two things I'm looking for here. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and read it again. I'm going to do my second read and focus on the information I need to know. Okay, so I want this highlighter. Let's do this. So I know I'm spending this amount of money. I need to round it to the nearest 10,000. And then I want to know how much they spend rounded to the nearest 1,000. Okay. So right here, if I have 117,290, 117,290, let's go ahead and try rounding this. Okay. So if I'm going to go to the thousands place value, that's going to be for this one. This would give me an answer of 117,000. Okay, or dollars. Okay, let's try another one right here. This one says I'm going to the nearest 10,000. Okay, well the 10,000's place value is right here. All right, so let's see, what would that be? So my 1 is going to change because 7 is bigger than 5. So this would be 1, 1, oh, nope, 1, 2, and then everything behind the 2 becomes a 0. So $120,000. Wow, that's a lot of money. So I know when I'm rounding to those place values, it matters the difference. I mean, the difference here is $3,000. That matters. I mean, I like money, so $3,000 is a fair amount of money. Okay, let's try another one. Let's try asking ourselves, is this a reasonable answer or a not reasonable answer? So it says Harry has 4 different types of cookie at his bakery and has sold 487 of each variety. Harry believes that he has sold 1,300 orders of cookies. Is this a reasonable total? So did Harry estimate well? Well, let's think about what we know. All right. I know that my answer down here is to the hundreds place value because my number right here is also to that hundreds place value. So let's start looking at information we know. I want you to try this one on your own. And then we will check this together. So go ahead and pause the video. Let's see how you did. Okay, 4th grade, let's talk about this. So we know that we have 4 types of cookies. We know that he sold 487 of each, which is really about 500 of each kind when we round it. So 487, and then we rounded to 500. So now I'm starting to wonder, okay, if we rounded that to 500, well, I can skip count by 5s, which means I can also skip count by 500s, which means I'm going to get 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000. Okay, so right here, my number of 1,300, well, that's going to be between 1,000 and 1,500. So I would say no, that is not reasonable. Harry estimated too low. That was a bad estimate. So that is not a reasonable answer. What I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and round this one to the nearest tens place, hundreds place, thousands place, 10,000, 100,000. Then we're going to check it together. All right, let's go ahead and check it, see how you did. So I notice right here, my tens place values right here. My 5 is going to change my 2 to a 3. So I would get 856,430. When I go to the nearest 100, 2 isn't going to change my 4. So I'm going to get an answer that is 856,400. When we try going to the thousands place value, which is my 6, is my 4 going to change to 6? Nope, not going to change to 6. So I'm going to get an answer there of 8,056,000. Notice when I round that number and I change it, everything behind it changes to zeros. What about the 10,000 place value right here? I see that 6 is going to change the 5. So I'm going to go up to the next value. So I'm going to get 860,000. Then finally, we have the 100,000 place value. So right here, is my 5 going to change my 8? Yes. So my 8 is going to become a 9, and I'm going to get 900,000. Whoop, whoop. All right. So we're going to go ahead and talk estimates really quick. So help me find the best estimate. What should we round 997 to? If you said 1,000, that is a good estimate. So I would say that this would be about 1,000. So 9 times 1,000 is 9,000. What about 405? Well, I could say that's close to 400. I know 5 times 4 is 20. And then I have 2 tens place values. So I got 2,000. Over here, I'm going to estimate to the thousands place value. So I'm going to say this is close to 2,000. What's 7 times 2,000? 14,000. Then finally, 687, I'm going to say that's close to 700. 700 times 4, well, I know 7 times 4 is 28 with 2 tens place value holders because I got 2 zeros right there. So I know it's going to be 2,800. So let's head on over and let's take a look at your assignment right now. So in 4th grade math, couple of different things. You have a test today. All right, so you have the Module 2 review. There is nothing to turn in. I just want you to focus on page 2. And you have the test that you're going to take. Remember, when you go in to do a test, you need to make sure that you are not having any distractions. Give yourself enough time. Complete all the assignments in the module first, but also don't have another browser open and don't exit the test without completing it. So you can go ahead and hit start and begin when you're ready. Then you also have a lesson today, which is right here on lesson 301, where you're estimating things. After you complete that lesson, you're going to be able to go right here and take your quiz. You got this, 4th grade. Whoop, whoop.